Do you like Xenoblade X? Wish you could get some kind of port? Well, that might not be happening anytime soon, but at the very least you can use the main character Elma in Xenoblade 2. And maybe it's just a small consolation if you're a fan of Xenoblade X, but Elma just happens to be one of the 3 best blades in the game, at the top of S tier and ridiculously strong in pretty much every situation. The utility and damage she can provide to the team can make her a valuable blade to have in any situation, and she has a variety of different playstyles thanks to her unique mechanics. In this video, we're going to take a look at Elma, discuss all of her strengths and weaknesses, and see how to use her most effectively. And yes, that includes discussing Overdrive and its applications in great detail also. If you enjoy this type of guide content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and look forward to all of my future content because it does help me out so much. Let's get into it. Now, Elma is a unique weapon class called the Dual Swords. These weapons are a clone weapon of Twin Rings, meaning it shares the same animations as the Twin Ring weapons on every driver. Outside of that, they are drastically different as the Dual Swords are significantly better. For one, Elma has a massive auto attack of 1684, which is among the best in the entire game, and can reach up to a 50% critical hit rate with the Moon Matter core chip, which is the second highest tier. She can also get a decent block rate, but that isn't all that important. Her physical defense is 30%, and her ether defense is 25%, which is among the best for an attack class blade, making her very tanky and just generally good all around. She also comes with a 20% ether stat mod, which is the highest a rare blade can achieve, which is a nice boost to have, and her cooldown is the fastest in the entire game, meaning you can swap to her very often. Even among 5 cooldowns, hers is faster than everyone else. And while her stats are very impressive, her skill tree is still important, so let's take a look at that now. Elma's first skill is Background Noise. This will increase her damage from behind an enemy by 30% at level 1, rising up to 150% at level 5. This is a pretty solid skill, and it is also her worst skill. 150% damage additive on a skill that can be achieved as easily as being behind the enemy is a very significant boost to have in a single skill slot. But you should keep in mind that when using Elma, your DPS will likely be crazy, and it can be difficult to take advantage of this additive without driver combo support keeping an enemy locked in place, or just running behind an enemy before starting a chain attack or something. If you have aggro from doing so much damage, the enemy will want to face you, meaning you will have to keep repositioning yourself to get this damage boost. It's a great skill and has some situational uses for sure, but do keep in mind that weakness of it, because it can be hard to take advantage of on a high damage blade like Elma. Elma's second skill is Crisis Catalyst. This skill will increase her damage by 90% and critical hit rate by 20% at level 1, and her damage by 150% and critical hit rate by 40% at level 5 when at max affinity. This skill is insane. It's basically an unconditional 150% damage boost for Elma for a very easy requirement of being at max affinity. And on top of that, it boosts her critical hit rate by an additive 40%, meaning if it was 34% before, it is now 74% since you'd add the 40 to the 34. That is massive and gives her the effective second best critical hit rate in the entire game behind Fiora. Blades like Mithra have an entire skill just to get a 15% boost to their critical hit rate, and Elma here gets 40% plus a huge damage boost on a single skill. Life really isn't fair sometimes, but maybe Xenoblade X fans deserve it. This skill is insane and synergizes very well with Elma to make her deal a huge amount of damage in pretty much every situation, and is one of the major reasons she's so good. Elma's final skill is Overdrive. When your party gauge is full, if Elma is in combat, simply hold down R and press the minus button to activate it for 50 seconds at level 1 and 90 seconds at level 5. Refreshing it will add another 60 seconds. There is a lot to talk about as far as the specifics of Overdrive, so I'm going to skip over that for now and talk about it in depth in the combat section of the video, which will have a timestamp. Just know that this is another very good skill that completely changes the battle mechanics of the game and is unique to Elma. Let's move on to her specials. Elma's level 1 special is Sliding Slinger. This is an ether-based 4-hit special that is insanely fast. Seriously, this is one of the top 5 fastest specials in the game easily, having all 4 hits done in 17 frames. It has a great damage ratio of 345 at level 1, 510 at level 5, and 552 at max affinity. It has a 25% critical hit modifier, so critical hits are extremely easy to get. And it even does bonus damage to higher level enemies, which is great for super bosses in challenge mode. It being 4 hits and insanely fast make it one of the best specials for chain attacks in the entire game, being 4 quick hits of damage cap to easily do to an enemy if Elma is set up properly for that. This is a fantastic special and a great option to use. Elma's level 2 special is 100 shells. This is another great special. It isn't nearly as fast, but it is 14 hits and also ether based with another high damage ratio of 500 level 1, 700 at level 5, and 725 max affinity. It has a 50% critical hit modifier, basically ensuring you always get critical hits if Elma is at max affinity, and it has the bonus effect of increasing damage from behind, so it works really well with Elma's additive for that, and is another absolutely fantastic option for chain attacks where you can reposition Elma before it starts to behind the enemy. It being 14 hits gives it the highest hit count of any level 2 special, and helps make Elma an even stronger option for chain attacks and damage in general. Seriously, this is not that hard to cap at all, and just showcases Elma's massive strengths. But it doesn't end there. Elma's level 3 special is Violent Streak. This is another ether-based special, and this time it's 16 hits. 16 hits is tied with Cosmos for the most a level 3 special has, and combined with her level 1 and 2, gives her the most hits of any blade in the entire game on her specials. This time it has a 100% critical hit mod, so basically guaranteed crits, along with the third highest damage ratio for a level 3 in the entire game, at 675 at level 1, 870 at level 5, and 918 at max affinity. Its bonus effect is a nulling guard entirely, so no attack will be blocked, and it has a pierce effect, meaning that it will go through enemy defense value to do the full damage as well. It even has a large area of effect radius, so she can hit multiple enemies at once, and this is a very good strategy with the types of things that Elma can do with Overdrive. This special also solidifies Elma being an insanely good blade in chain attacks as well, potentially able to get 34 hits of damage cap off in a 3-round chain attack, which is probably going to be enough to kill any enemy on normal mode. Chain attacks are useless on Bringer of Chaos, so that doesn't matter, and Elma has countermeasures for that as well. Elma's level 4 special is Full Metal Jaguar, and if you expected this special to be disappointing, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. This special has a massive damage ratio of 1513, which is the third highest in the game once again, and it also has a defense piercing effect and guard annul its bonus effect, meaning just like the level 3, it will always do the full damage no matter what and ignore enemy defense. It has a 60% critical hit mod, once again basically guaranteeing critical hits, and it can do a ton of damage to an enemy because of the huge damage ratio. You also get the added bonus effect of freezing driver combos and getting invincibility should you need that. All around, Elma's specials are amazing, and she has some of the best in the entire game from a damage perspective, and all of them have their uses in many situations. For setup, Elma is one of those special blades that gets critical damage when using the Tachyon core chip, because why wouldn't she be able to do that? And because of her massive critical hit rate, it is absolutely the right option to get as much damage as possible out of her. There is no other option. For aux cores, Elma gets 3 aux core slots, and because of her huge focus on dealing as much damage as possible, and her already decent tank stats, I just recommend focusing on damage and accuracy if needed. So that means Affinity Max Attack, Outdoor Indoor Attack, and Night Vision. Affinity Max Barrier can be good, and other aux cores can have some use as well. I am using Elma on Rex because Rex has extremely fast animations with this weapon, and very good arts with Elma that can do a ton of damage. It is worth noting that Elma also has an evasion art on everyone, so she can block dangerous attacks with that, because why not? Just more to add to the list of things Elma can do should you want to. For accessories, I am running the Crimson Headband because her critical hit rate is huge, and the independent multiplier to all of her added to damage is extremely good. I'm also running the Noise Dampener because Elma can dish out a huge amount of art damage, and this is just another independent multiplier, and thanks to Rex's very fast and strong arts, this is a very good option to have. And in the final slot, I'm being a bit risky with Abyss Mask, because Elma can actually make driver combos easier, so you don't have to worry about as much about defense. If you want to be safer, there's plenty of other options like Divine Van Braces, but for the easiest and most consistent max damage setup, you can run this and just rely on your evasion art if needed. For pouch items, Art Recharge is the way to go because of how Elma synergizes very well with it and just likes to use arts as much as possible. With all that done, let's discuss Overdrive and see how to use Elma practically. So first things first, we need to talk about Overdrive and exactly what it does. Firstly, you can only activate Overdrive if Elma is currently in the party. If you are the driver with her, she has to be active. Otherwise, just press R and the minus button, and your AI will swap to her at first opportunity and use Overdrive. This is the only instance where AI ignores what they normally are programmed to do. If Overdrive is already active and you want to refresh it and have the party meter to do so, Elma does not need to be in the active anymore to refresh it. So activating Overdrive will cause a counter to appear at the bottom of the screen and call special music that you may or may not hate at this point, especially if you played Xenoblade X, to start playing. For the next 90 seconds, Overdrive will be active. This will restrict chain attacks during the time frame, so you cannot overdrive and use a chain attack at the same time, which means you cannot use Elma's amazing chain attack strength if you do activate it. The trade-off, though, is that you get a number of bonus effects in combat. You get extra damage, reduced cooldown on all of your arts, and the enemy has less resistance to all of your driver combos and reactions while overdrive is active. The effect of all three of these will increase further as the counter goes up. You can see all three of these effects right next to the counter: the damage, recharge, and resistance sections with the percent next to them. The damage counter is how much extra damage you currently have. Only the first 100% doesn't actually count. This number starts off at 125% when you activate Overdrive, but it's actually only a 25% damage boost to start off with. Recharge is the exact same way. Arc cooldown is only reduced by 50% to start off with, despite the number saying 150%. This means arts will recharge 50% faster essentially from all sources, including pouch items and auto-attacking. This means you can even use more arts and more specials. The resistance number is actually pretty accurate. The number you see is how much the enemy's resistance to driver combos has been reduced, beginning at a 20% additive effect. This essentially means you can break enemies easier. The counter goes up as you use arts and these specials on an enemy. It can max out when you reach a count of 1,000. Reaching a count of 1,000 will give you 500% extra damage, 200% extra art recharge, meaning arts will charge 3 times as fast, and a 70% reduction to enemy driver combo resistance. As you can imagine, all of these effects are extremely powerful. The 500% damage boost is additive and will affect all blades currently active in the party, meaning it's a huge total. Now, reaching that high in combat usually isn't practical, but you can still get some major benefits from Overdrive. The increases from 0 to 100 count are linear, so at a count of 200 you would have 120% extra damage, at a count of 400 you will have 215% extra damage, at a count of 600 you will have 310% extra damage, at a count of 800 you will have 405% extra damage, and then finally 500% extra damage when you reach that count of 1000. The other numbers will increase in the same way. Overdrive remains active for 90 seconds, but you can reactivate it if you build up party meter for another 60 seconds, so in many cases it isn't too difficult to keep it going forever. Now finally, let's talk about building the counter. This time it's much simpler than Xenoblade X. Every hit of an art will build the count by 1, and every hit of a special will build the count by 5. This stacks if you hit multiple enemies with your moves as well. Every driver will contribute to this count, and this means that Elma's high hit count level 2 and 3 specials are fantastic for Overdrive, and any blade that can contribute to that can also be a fantastic option for Overdrive-based party setups. More hits on your specials means higher count faster. Overdrive makes driver combo locking very easy as well. It means you don't have to run a healer or much safety at all if you don't want to. Just the driver combo stages and the ability to keep it going for as long as possible. It's a really great ability and the primary thing used in a lot of Bringer of Chaos challenges, since chain attacks are heavily nerfed there, and it usually allows extremely tough enemies to go down much easier. With that explanation out of the way, let's get into all of the practical applications of Elma. If you're just interested in seeing some of the damage potential Elma is capable of, we might as well start off against Tyranitar and Kuragil. So, as you can see, I can easily set up a very quick level 1 special with that and start the way to the combo automatically there. Unfortunately, I'm missing my trick shot. That's Rex's most powerful art with Elma, and it seems like I'm not getting the crits and the damage I want there. Okay, there we go. There was 500,000 on both hits of that art just there. So that move is extremely powerful, definitely something to keep in mind. I was saving my level 4 special to try to block something or wait for Tora to break, but unfortunately I did so much damage to him. He did Titan's Awakening much faster than I anticipated him doing it. So I just decided at this point, well, I don't even need like a fusion combo to max out the damage in a chain attack, nor do I really need an orb or anything. So I'm just going to just level 4 him from behind right here, which is going to do a decent chunk of damage. He's going to turn around at the end of it, so I'm not going to get the last hit from behind, but that's not a huge deal. I'm just going to quickly position myself behind him and then start a chain attack, and even on normal mode, with no fusion combo, Elma's level 1 is going to annihilate him. Ever seen a health bar drain that fast before from a super boss? Probably not. And chain attacking is really one of Elma's biggest strengths. I know Overdrive is a thing she has, and it's like the special thing she has, but chain attacking with Elma is extremely good just because of how great her specials are. She's probably the best chain attack blade in the entire game, and that cannot be understated. Even though she does have access to Overdrive, there are some things you can do because of her chain attacking ability that just make her really, really strong in just a number of situations. Her being so good in chain attacks and being the only blade that allows you to use Overdrive makes her super good in just so many situations. As you can see right there, even on like a speed kill of Ken here on normal mode, just her fast specials and just significant damage is very vitally impactful. Now, I'm not hitting every damage cap on this level 2 because I don't have quite the team set up to do that. I just needed enough damage there more than anything. And then, yeah, the level 3s and the chain attacks, we're going to get that damage cap and destroy him. Even with 50 million HP, Elma can just do so much damage in this chain attack. Over 30 million just by herself. Pretty much carrying everything almost, just to ensure we can kill the 50 million health bar that Ken has. So Elma and chain attack, really good. But since I'm sure people who are interested in using Elma are more concerned about Overdrive, let's show off a different strategy against the Bringer of Chaos variants of Cloud Sea King Ken, the challenge mode enemy. This time he has 125 million HP. What we're going to do is set up this damage over time effect on him, and using driver combos and Overdrive to decrease his resistance to the driver combo stages like break and topple and everything, we're going to be able to just keep comboing him and also build up our overdrive count and continue to build up the damage over time effect until it gets to a damage cap effect. And Elma's going to help us do that. Elma herself can also increase the overdrive count to increase our bonuses to reducing his defense as well as doing even more damage ourselves. And because Elma has such high art damage on Rex just in general, we're still able to do a ton of damage just by positioning herself behind him. You see, saw right there, I did like over 300,000 with trick shot there on both hits. So that's like over 700,000 damage on the arc total. And basically my strategy here is just use some level 2s with Elma because it's 70 overdrive count just per use because 14 times 5 is 70. And this just shows that Elma is just such an incredibly useful blade. Not only does she just start the overdrive in general, but she has ways to increase the count fast and just do a ton of damage just because of all of her skills and everything combined. Over 400,000 damage with trick shot there. The arts that Rex are using are insanely fast. The cooldowns are amazing. They cancel into each other perfectly. This is just all in all an extremely good blade overall, and very fun to use. I think she's one of the most fun blades to use in the entire game just because of the speed that her arts come out at, and overdrive reducing art cooldowns even more gives you a lot of flexibility, and even an enemy with 125 million HP is no match for Elma. We're able to just throw out all this damage over and over. The damage cap DOT is ticking on him, and yeah, honestly, this is one of my favorite challenge mode missions I've ever done. I'm still really proud of what I came up with for this, even though it's not the record anymore. But with this setup, basically, this is pretty much almost the exact setup I had showed you in my preparations before. So it does have the noise dampener and crimson headband. And yes, you can just see Elma's damage can be huge, especially when you stack up that multiplier, the damage multiplier from Overdrive, get the arc cooldown, reduces resistance even further, and you can just absolutely annihilate certain enemies, which is one of the major benefits of Elma for sure. I think she's a fantastic blade, just really good overall. Just a lot, she can do a lot of damage. She's some of the best DPS in the game. Top 5 for sure. As a final note, I wanted to show off just a little bit more about Overdrive. I've got the Evasion Art Shadow Twist this time around, and this challenge is because it's useful against some of the enemies that come later on, so I just want to show off that Elma really does have the ability to just do a bunch of different things, and has the ability to just be a tank as well if she needs to, which is something very useful. And as you know, you can increase Overdrive count with other blades, even if Elma's not currently active, and what I'm going to be doing here is using Mythra's level 2 to hit every enemy on the field at once, even the Ardanian sniper over in the corner, and killing him to increase that overdrive counter a huge amount. You can see it's just massive now, which is very good, because that means once we swap back to Elma here, we can just do a ton of damage to these guys, and yeah, the trick shots are going to be hurting these guys significantly, everything. So Elma in general is just a really powerful blade, and against multi-enemy fights where you can hit a bunch of enemies with your specials and everything, you can build up the overdrive counter fast, just absolutely annihilate pretty much everything. And yeah, we're gonna finish this fight off here. I didn't show the full thing because I didn't want to waste any more time on this, but Elma's level 3 with the big radius. We're gonna be able to hit both of these enemies here and annihilate all of them, both of them in one combo there, and then Kuradel dies, and then that's it. If you've learned something else, I hope you learned that Elma is a really strong blade, definitely worthy of her S ranking and 3rd best blade in the entire game. So much flexibility with overdrive, so good in chain attack, she really can just do it all, and that's just one of the hallmarks of a good blade, so I hope Xenoblade X fans feel proudly represented by Elma in this game, and I hope you guys learned something from watching this video. And if you did, make sure to like the video, comment down below, subscribe, buy my merch, whatever else to support me you want to, and I will appreciate that so much. And as always, look forward to my future guides. I'm going to cover all the rest of the blades pretty soon. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.